Welcome back to PixelPromenade Intersections, Bridging Boundaries, Co-Creating Tomorrow. I'm Nico Marzian, your host, and thank you for joining me today. Over the past 4 episodes, I introduced each pillar individually. CoLab, people in the middle, applied data intelligence, and exchange of value. Each one addressing a distinct failure mode in cross-boundary collaboration. Today I want to show you what becomes possible when all 4 work together, and tell you where this framework actually came from and where it stands. Imagine the following scenario. A regional ecosystem initiative is working toward a circular, low-emission supply chain. It is manufacturers, logistics companies, energy providers, city government, research institutions, and a handful of startups working together. And a challenge that every region in Europe and beyond is actively facing right now. Without the framework, each actor works within their own systems and their own decision logic. Every optimization is local, and no one can see the combined picture, which is exactly where the real opportunity appears. Now, with all 4 pillars in place, CoLab provides the shared environment, a governed digital layer above existing systems where each actor contributes what they are willing to share. Operational data, capacity information, demand signals. Under access rules, they control. No one surrenders their systems, and the shared layer connects what was previously separate. People in the middle operate at multiple levels. At the project level, translating, for instance, between the manufacturer's process engineers and the city's infrastructure planners, brokering agreements, keeping both oriented toward the shared goal when their immediate priorities diverge. And at the ecosystem level, moderating the processes that span across all participants. Access governance, onboarding of new actors, resolution of the disputes that inevitably arise around data and decision rights. They do not make decisions for the group. They make it possible for the group to make decisions. Applied data intelligence turns the shared layer into a shared understanding. Patterns emerge that were invisible from any single vantage point, where material flows could become circular, which logistics corridors generate avoidable emissions, where energy demand peaks and renewable supply windows align. These insights require data from multiple actors, modeled together with human judgment applied to the outputs. The intelligence layer informs that judgment. It does not replace it. Exchange of value makes it sustainable. The startup that contributes its demand forecasting capability receives credits, convertible across the ecosystem. The logistics company that shares routing data with the city earns social points that result in real operational advantages. Priority permit processing, early involvement in regulatory design. And every contribution is visible, every exchange quantified and agreed. As actors from different domains work together, knowledge moves across boundaries in both directions. A logistics insight informs a manufacturing process. A regulatory framework from one domain becomes a working template in another. What does that ecosystem actually produce? Material flows that were linear become circular. Emission corridors that were invisible get redesigned. Energy that was wasted at one node gets absorbed at another. New business relationships form between actors who had no previous reason to talk. And the ecosystem itself becomes more capable over time, not through centralized planning, but through designed exchange and accumulated shared knowledge. That is the difference between a collaboration that starts and one that lasts. This framework was not designed in a think tank. It was built across 2 decades of practice at similar kinds of intersections, in different contexts, with real organizations and real constraints. From the early 2000s, I worked on a platform called vWorks, starting as a CRM solution before becoming a functioning B2B ecosystem for technical industries that was initiated first for the global minting industry, with national, state level, and private coin manufacturers, equipment and service suppliers, and central banks, all from across 60 countries. It launched around the same time as Facebook, yet in terms of a platform, it already was much more advanced, while being for business utilization and not a social network. Several of the technical and structural patterns that substantiate CoLab today, shared processes, role-based access, cross-organization workflows, collaborative documentation, were built and tested in that environment. Customers and partners started calling me man in the middle. I did not choose that name, they gave it to me, and it became the guiding principle and role definition I have been refining ever since. From there, the thinking moved through applied strategic and conceptual work across manufacturing, automotive, mobility and logistics, urban development, regenerative sustainability, and the space sector. Designing collaboration frameworks, developing use cases for connected ecosystems, and learning in detail where governance fails and what makes data sharing feel safe or unsafe to different kinds of actors. One platform attempt did not reach the market when a technology partner went under. And that clarified something important. The framework matters more than any single implementation because the patterns are transferable and the principles hold across various contexts. The trading engine, the data platform, and the reputation system are not yet running as live software. And I'm telling you that because the honest version of this story is more useful than the polished one. What exists is a conceptual framework, designs, interactive prototypes, a vast collection of definitions, principles, and blueprints, with deep roots in practice, tested across multiple domains, and ready to be built. And that is what this series is making the case for. Building it. So, none of the 4 pillars works alone. CoLab without people in the middle is infrastructure with no one navigating it. CoLab without applied data intelligence is a shared environment where data accumulates but never becomes the basis for decisions, transformation, or viable business logic. An exchange of value without the other 3 is a marketplace with no community and cross-boundary collaboration driving intelligence behind it. The power is in the combination. From the next episode on, we move into the domains where these 4 pillars meet the specific realities of urban mobility and logistics, digital manufacturing and circular economy, regenerative sustainability, and new space. Each domain has its own actors, its own stakes, and its own version of the collaboration problem. But I will also make the case that they all, more often than not, share challenges, goals, and approaches to the needed solutions. Thank you for watching. For now, please take care, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.